Today, we are going to be looking at the brand new update by Korg. Yes, they have updated Korg Collection 2 to Korg Collection 3. And they have my favorite, once again, my second favorite keyboard in there. But before we get to that, let's roll this intro.
Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him.
Welcome back to Bliss by G Beats. I am the G, and today we are going to be looking at the new Korg Collection 3. Korg Collection 3. Let's kind of look at the website real quick. They are really blowing this up, man. They're hardware modeling from analog to digital, a synthesizer collection that is beyond the ages. And it says here, in 2004, Korg released the Korg Legacy Collection, a groundbreaking endeavor to authentically recreate the company's most famous synthesizers and software. The Korg Collection was renewed in 2017 with the addition of the ARP Odyssey. 2019 brought Korg Collection 2, and this is when, to me, Korg Collection 2 really got dope because they brought in none other than the Korg Triton. Korg Triton, their best piece of hardware or even software to date, as well as newly defined GUIs or GUIs for all prior plugins. But now, in 2021, Korg Collection introduces 3 new software recreations to the world. Korg's first mass-produced analog synthesizer, the miniKorg 700S, the Moss Tone generator powered Prophecy, and here it is. This is the one I'm excited about. And the Triton Extreme, the vacuum tube equipped high point of the Triton series. Korg Collection 3 has now expanded to be a thrilling collection of iconic sounds from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the thousands. Let me tell y'all something. The Korg Triton, oh gosh, come on now. The Korg Triton, I am telling y'all, the Korg Triton was the pinnacle of the Korg Triton was the pinnacle of the workstation series for Korg. The Triton was it. It was it because it was one of the best instruments. It was at the height of the workstation keyboard. And I would say the height of the workstation keyboard was in the 2000s. When Korg dropped the Triton, it took the whole industry by storm, simply because it was the really truly first just all-in-one box, to where it had the sequencer and it had the sounds. And it also, I think they added later on or something like it had a sampler of some sort, to where I think you could load in some of your own samples. But the sounds of the Korg Triton were amazing. You have heard the sounds of the Korg Triton on so many records you would not even believe it. And so they went from the Korg Triton, and now they've stepped their game up and they went to the Triton Extreme. But I still say the Triton Extreme was nice, but the pinnacle of the whole issue is none other than the Korg Triton. But the Korg Triton Extreme continued on with the great tradition of the Triton, added the vacuum tube, I guess what it is, to give it a little bit more warmth. But at the end of the day, the Triton Extreme, I'm very excited about the Triton Extreme too, because like I say, it's just as good as the Triton plugin is in Collection 2. So I'm gonna let you hear a beat that I made in Machina, and then we're gonna bounce over to Logic, because I also made a beat in Logic with Korg Collection 3, and we're gonna go through some of the sounds and just kind of talk about, what does this mean, with them re-releasing this, and how good is it? Is it any good? And I can just tell you, I'm going to spoil it for you right off the top. I think it is awesome. It is great, especially as people are starting to get back into some of these older nostalgic sounds from back in the day. And for whatever reason, I think these older keyboards from back in the day, they sound so good today when you use them in hip hop music, when you use them in hip hop and trap, because you don't have to really, you don't have to really sample, because you already kind of got a vintage sound. So you're basically just playing those sounds again, using those sounds today without having to sample them and coming up with your own melodies and chord progressions and riffs, leads, and all of these different things. And they sound so fresh today as we listen to them. So I don't want to talk too much. I've already talked too much. Let's get into this first beat that I made with the Korg. I'm sorry, that I made with the Korg that I made. And I really only want to focus on, in this overview, I only really want to look at the Triton Extreme and the other two instruments, the other two synthesizers that were mentioned. Those are the only three we're going to go through, because there are plenty of reviews online about the Korg Collection too. But I'm just going to go through a few sounds on those three, and on those three, and if something catches my ear, we may even make a beat. So let's get into it. This is the beat that I made on the Machina. Now the drums are coming from Certified Gold. There's a sample that you're hearing in the background, that's Certified Gold. But the piano, Korg Triton Extreme, and that synth, Korg Triton Extreme, and the ARP you hear in the background, I couldn't resist. I had to go with the Korg Triton. And so we're gonna get off that one, and we're gonna roll on over to Logic, and we'll quickly listen to a beat that I made in Logic Pro X, and then we'll bounce our way, and then we'll start going through some of the sounds of those three instruments that were mentioned. All right, let's close that out. I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask while I'm recording the video. I'm not really familiar as Logic loads up. I'm not really familiar with the miniKorg 700S. I'm pretty sure it has some great sounds. So when we go through some of those sounds, that's going to be the first time that I've listened, because I'm just being honest, Triton, that the only thing I was really interested in was the Korg Triton Extreme. But I'm interested in the miniKorg. I want to hear what it sounds like. And then, of course, the Prophecy. I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I haven't really heard it. I'm not familiar with it in that manner, so let's move Logic over here to the main screen. Hold on a second. Got to shrink Logic down a little bit to get. Okay, there we go. Let's close that, get a little bit more of the screen. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Those guitars, that is the Triton Extreme. And this is the Murder Kit off of Splice. Best kit in my opinion, hands down. I canceled Splice, hadn't got my hands on the Murder Kit 2. But see, this is really what made the workstation keyboards back in the day. This is what made those keyboards so dope, because it was all about, in the workstation keyboards back then, it was all about how many sounds can you get on that bad boy? How many sounds can you get on it, and how real do they sound? You know, how real do they sound, or how good do they sound? And so that was a very, very big deal back then. And so this is why now, as we get into the Triton, I mean, as we start listening to these sounds, and I think what I'm going to do is, I think in actuality, we'll come back to the Triton Extreme. Let's go over to, what is this instrument again? The Korg, the miniKorg 700S. Okay, so I'm thinking this is it, the miniKorg. Let's go in stereo. Let's get a look at that interface and see what it looked like. Oh, wow, it looks just like it looked. I was thinking that, okay. I see you. Okay, and this is, as you can see, this thing is packed with presets. Okay, so real quick, as we come back up here to the main window, I haven't played with these a lot, but from what I've seen, you can kind of resize the windows. I have my resolution set a little bit larger on my Mac, because without it, when it's not set right, it's like super small. Oh, okay, so you can switch back and forth between 3D and 2D. All right, that's pretty dope. It's a pretty dope effect. I would probably rather play in this particular view. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, we could probably resize this, but we'll leave it like this for right now. Oh, there it is. 3 little dots up here. You can get it to 60%. Okay. I see you there. So it looks like you just click here, and then you can just click the category. A lot of times when I hear these old synthesizers, man, they really remind me of some of the older scary movies that we used to watch back in the day. And so, or some of the old, the horror movies, you can hear some of these sounds they used, or in action movies when they were trying to create some intensity or create a mood. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you would hear. But let's go through Let's go through about 10 sounds from each category. It's a nice sound right there. Yeah, these leads, man, they're pretty dope. That's dope right there. Right there already. Oh man, I can hear some. Ooh, I can hear a beat to that. Nice. Let's check out a couple of basses. Likes that bass right there. Like that one, man. That's dope. Let me favorite that real quick. Oh, I like that one too. From outer space. Here we go. I'm just playing around. See, these are those old movies from like Blade Runner and Terminator. I likes that. Dope sounds, dope sounds. Let's keep going. I want to get through these. Like these. These go great in hip hop and trap. Yeah, likes that. Yeah, likes that. Oh yeah. Woo! Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, this sounds really good. I'm really not familiar with it. And you know, for you tweakers out there, this is kind of like first response for me, but you can go in here and change some things. You look here, vibrato. I'm pretty sure this is an accurate representation of the interface of this thing. So we got a master pitch. All right. There we go. Yep. Likes that. All right, so you can do some serious tweaking here. Modulation 1, 3, noise. So you can really do some destruction to the sounds. Okay, likes that. Let's go to soft synth. Tell love sounds like this. Some of these sounds remind me of some of the stuff you've been hearing lately from Native Instruments. All right, motion. I'm only gonna do about 3 of these. So you remember this one of those scary movies you hear? Let's go. Bell and Decay. Likes it. So you pretty much know what you're getting with this, you know. Baseline assist, okay. You pretty much know what you're getting with these sounds. While they do sound good, these are what I would call, and I'm pretty sure they're an accurate representation of the miniKorg 700S. Yeah, see, I like these. I like everything. Oh yeah, I really like that. Computer love, and then we got some drum and percussion. I already knew what these were gonna sound like. Old drum machine sounds. So that's the miniKorg 700S. That's the miniKorg 700S. Not it is definitely, it is what it is. It's a classic old synthesizer. Now there are a lot of plugins today. I just recently bought Arturia's Analog Lab 5. There are so many analog sounds. I couldn't even see myself playing with that particular instrument. But let's go over to next, the Prophecy. See what we're working with. Man, I love this GUI on this. This is a nice GUI. Yeah, I love the interface, and I'm pretty sure somewhere on here I can change the size, but it's kind of done scooted off my screen up here, it looks like, so oh well. Well, I may have to have that to browse on here. Let's see. All right, so I figured out how to move it down. All I had to do is move it around a little bit. But I'm telling you, I played around a little bit. My wife called me, so while I had it paused. But this instrument right here. Now, I am not familiar with this Prophecy instrument, but this thing here is nice. I went into the hard synth lead, and the the second sound that I got to was this sound called Raiden. Yeah, that thing right there is dope. And you go in here, let's click on the sound and get back to that GUI there. And it's got some pretty interesting controls on it that I can understand a lot better than what I was looking at on the other one. It got the oscillators 1 and 2, sub, pitch, noise, all these things. You got all your filters, your amps, wave shape, and these are pretty easy to manipulate. I like this. So oscillator 1, of course, you can go ahead and select. Kind of add a characteristic to it. Woo! Man, that is nice. I likes that. Oscillator 2 looks like a few different things. Edge. And then the modulator, you can get that from being modulator, oscillator 1, frac, and noise. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope right there. Oh, yes. I am liking this, man. This is so dope. Let's go through a few sounds on this. I've already favorited that Raiden. Classic 80s scary movie. See, I like that. 303. Okay, soft synth lead. Hold on a second. All right, so the soft synth leads. Synth bass here. Let's check these out. That's classic right there. Classic stuff right there. Sounds like stuff you've heard before in other analog packages. So these right here, as we continue on, I mean, I would purchase the, There are some sounds in here I can hear myself. There are some sounds in here I could hear myself. Yeah, there's some stuff in here. As you can see, nowhere near as many presets in this one. And before I go on this here, there is a nice little arpeggiator here. So I think as far as these first two editions, the miniKorg 700S and now the Korg Prophecy, I do think that if you buy this package, you're obviously wanting these vintage synths. I think you obviously are a fan of these. But let's get to the highlight of the show. I mean, the star of the show. I mean, I do believe, just like in Korg Collection 2, the star of the show was the Korg Triton. I played around with it. I rented it. Matter of fact, I rented it off Splice for about a month. And the reality of the matter is that the Korg Triton is the star of Korg Collection 2, and now Korg Triton Extreme is the star of Korg Collection 3. It is worth the upgrade. If you have Korg Collection 2, this is worth the upgrade just for this one plugin alone. So let's pop this bad boy open here. And let me see. Screen size. Want to be able to move it around just a tinch. So this thing is packed. I did not get a chance to see how many presets are in here, but I'm pretty sure that there are some new programs in here that were exclusive to the Korg Triton Extreme. But of course, you know, whenever Korg is going to introduce a new workstation, they're going to introduce some new sounds. And so when you look at the sheer amount of sounds in this thing, and this is what these workstation keyboards were all about back in the day. They were all about how many sounds could you get inside of them, how realistic or how good, and how many could you get? Because when someone bought one of these, this is not like today. You know, a lot of people think the subscription service is new, but it's actually not new in my opinion, because when the samplers came into existence, that to me was the beginning of the subscription service. And you may be saying, well, what are you talking about? Well, whenever you got these workstations, one of the things that you chose a workstation based upon was how many sounds did it have? Because you already knew that you got a workstation keyboard, you were not going to be upgrading probably for about 5 to 6, 7 years. And so you wanted to make sure it had a lot of sounds on it. And of course, Korg started introducing some expansion packs also, but those expansion packs were not cheap. So, you know, you typically tried to get whatever had the most sounds, because you knew even from an upgrade perspective, you probably were not going to be upgrading. But the Korg Triton has a ton of sounds. You got the factory bank A, B, C, D, and then we got H, factory bank factory bank I, factory bank J, K, L, M. There are just so many. They got all of these expansions in here. And so We're going to kind of go through some sounds and what we're going to do. So I'm going to load up Scalar. Yeah, let's load up Scalar. And we'll load up a couple of I kind of like Bruh Beats as an artist on here. He's got Bro Beats. He's got some nice little chord progressions. So I'm gonna pull this off over here. Let me see. This is where I'm thinking maybe I should lift my resolution a little bit better. All right, so go to the browser window here. It sounds just like these old keyboards from those songs from the 2000s. So one thing about the Korg Triton, it had some huge, because back in the day, these piano sounds, these huge bright piano sounds were really big. Just going through some of the pianos. Just sounds, man, just so crispy there. Let me move to a couple of these other ones here. Just crispy, man. Just crispy. Just kind of going random because there's just so many sounds in here. So, and then of course, when you're dealing with the Triton, of course, you can do some editing too. We'll look at that in just a moment. Yep. I really do think the pianos, I've went through some of them and they just sound so good. They really do. Let's go to the next category and then we'll look at some of the editing functions and then we'll get up out of here. There's just so much. So you got the keyboard, got some vocabulary stuff. Yeah, some really nice Yeah, really nice stuff here. And also kind of played around, and the basses just really shine. One thing about, like I said, these workstation keyboards back in the day, there is enough on here that whatever genre of music you're doing, you're going to be able to find some sounds to go along with it. And see, this is why I think this is a great. I think this is of great value, because when you start thinking about some of these things like Omnisphere and Nexus, they're really just emulating a lot of these sounds from Korg and maybe doing a little bit of, modernization to them. But at the end of the day, these workstation keyboards, you can get as much out of these new out of this plugin as you can out of the modern plugins. There's just so much in here. That's the motion synth. The organs sound real good. The organs sound real good. No doubt you'll be able to find something that'll fit. Yep. Oh man, that sounds good right there. This just reminds me, like, back in the day, I wanted this keyboard so bad. So broke, couldn't afford it. That's why I opted for the EPS 16 Plus back in the day. I went the sampler route, and then I eventually got into the computer stuff. But I'm just glad that they have released this. And like for me, I don't know. It depends on how you feel about. Boom. Oh. It just goes to show you. It just goes to show you how crazy, these workstations were back in the day, man. These things were crazy. I'm just going random. I'm serious, man. If you have Korg Collection 2, you have to get Korg Collection 3 because of this Triton Extreme. I mean, you have to. Let's see. Special effects look like? Or sound effects? All right, all right. Let's see. Bell and mallet. All right, Wood and Reed. Now, back in the day, man, somebody would have heard that, they would have just lost their mind because they'd have been like, that sound like a real saxophone. Today, people don't too much get into that kind of stuff unless you're into a certain genre, but back in the day, see, fast synth. And I know a lot of us have gear acquisition syndrome or gas, but at the end of the day, I mean, even when you listen to this old keyboard from the 2000s, it doesn't sound too much different from some of the stuff that you're hearing today as far as on these VSTs. Strings. These are going to sound just marvelous because strings were a big part of music in the early 2000s. So it's pretty obvious how these are going to sound. Mm-hmm. Flip the switch up here. Oh, I thought it was a switch. I'm sorry. Now, if you listen with headphones on, you can hear a very subtle difference. See? Now, back in the day, that was a huge difference, you know. So, and also, see, it depends on the sound. And then, of course, you can still go in just like a lot of editing points. And I think you assign certain things to the real-time controls. This was always like classic on those Korg keyboards. Is one of the things that just, you knew it was a Triton. And you can go in here and pretty much manipulate them to your heart's content. And of course, the Tritons all had built-in effects, so but the big thing about the Korg Triton was people just loved it for the presets, and it was a great performance, you know, especially Extreme. It was a great performance keyboard. You would see them out and about when people would perform. But this one here was blue. It was extreme, the blue vacuum thing there. But the really classic Triton is the silver Triton. But Triton Extreme and Triton, this is the pinnacle of Korg in the workstation era. It was pretty much once that workstation era went out with computers and people began to sell the keyboards, and some people even regret they even sold those workstations. But this was the pinnacle of workstations in the 2000s. And so for me, the Korg Collection, it is definitely worth the upgrade if you have Korg Collection 2. It is worth the upgrade. I think anytime you get an opportunity to get these Triton plugins, everything else for me would be just gravy. I wouldn't even need any of the other things. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also get this set up where you just get the Korg Triton Collection. Unfortunately, they don't sell that on Splice or do that on rent to own on Splice, so I would just jump all over it. So the Korg Collection 3 on Splice, you have to get the whole collection. But I think I've played around with some of the other instruments in Korg Collection 2, which I'm not going to go over in this. They sound good too. They sound good too. I wouldn't have a problem if I didn't have the collection of getting the whole collection. But for me, to be honest with you, the Korg Triton is really what serves me and is what serves me best. That's what I'm really interested in. And that, once again, just like in number 2, Triton was the pinnacle. I mean, it was the highlight in Korg Collection 3. Triton Extreme, once again, is the highlight of the whole package. So if you don't have this, I mean, definitely for me, I would give it a thumbs up. And I would definitely say that it is definitely something worth adding to your arsenal as far as production goes, because I would definitely choose this over some of these things like Nexus and all of that. Just spend $3.99 and get, or right now it's on sale for $2.99. Just get this Korg Collection, and just for the Triton and the Triton Extreme alone, you have probably as many sounds that you would have to keep spending extra money for inside of Nexus. So that's going to do it for this overview and review. And I've already let you hear a couple of beats, so we didn't have to make any beats, especially since we went about 52 minutes in. So I'll be making some more videos, and I'll be making some more beats with the Korg, the whole Korg Triton series. So until the next time, keep grinding, keep inspiring.